The city lay under the cover of midnight, its streets shimmering with the faint glow of rain-slicked asphalt. On a desolate rooftop, a group of shadowy figures crouched, their movements precise and deliberate. The leader, identifiable by a subtle red stripe on their sleeve, unrolled a blueprint across the cracked concrete. The silent exchange of glances conveyed the gravity of the moment. This wasn't just a heist, it was a statement. Each member of the team had a role, honed through meticulous preparation. One adjusted the straps of a lightweight backpack brimming with high-tech tools, while another spun a compact drone into motion. Its soft hum blended seamlessly with the ambient city noise as it ascended, transmitting a bird's-eye view of the target, a looming bank just 2 blocks away. The leader raised a hand, signaling the team into action. With fluid grace, they vaulted over the edge, scaling down fire escapes and leaping gaps between rooftops. The camera followed their movements closely, capturing the precise choreography of their parkour. This was their language. Every vault, roll, and swing spoke of discipline, skill, and unyielding resolve. Reaching the bank skylight, the team paused. The drone hovered nearby, its thermal imaging revealing the security guards patrolling below. One member produced a compact device and jammed the security cameras with a flick of a switch. The leader nodded approval, their gloved hand steady as they gestured for the others to proceed. The sound of a glass cutter slicing through the skylight was barely audible over the city's distant hum. One by one, the team dropped into the bank's interior, their movements ghost-like. Inside, the air was thick with tension, every creak of the floor seeming to amplify in the stillness. The safe loomed ahead, a steel behemoth that seemed impervious to intrusion. The safecracker, a wiry figure with nimble fingers, stepped forward. They placed a portable device against the lock, their focus unwavering as digital numbers flashed across the screen. Meanwhile, the others secured the room, their eyes darting to every shadow, every corner. Time seemed to stretch endlessly until a soft click broke the silence. The safe door eased open, revealing bundles of cash and glistening gold bars. As the team filled their bags, the faint wail of sirens reached their ears. A single red light on the security console blinked ominously. It wasn't a malfunction. The leader clenched their fist, signaling an immediate retreat. The heist wasn't going as planned. Ascending back to the rooftop, the group moved with urgency. The sirens grew louder, their echoes bouncing off the urban canyon walls. One team member lingered momentarily, turning to glance at the shadows below as if sensing unseen eyes watching. They hesitated, then followed the others into the night. The camera lingered on the empty skylight, now a gaping void in the bank ceiling. The faint sound of footsteps receded into the distance, leaving only the city's relentless hum and the promise of a relentless pursuit. The cold night air pressed against the team as they emerged onto the rooftop, bags of stolen wealth slung over their shoulders. Below, the unmistakable blare of sirens shattered the silence, accompanied by the flicker of red and blue lights bouncing off the buildings. The leader, ever composed, scanned the skyline for their next move. They raised a hand, and the team bolted into action, their movements a seamless blend of agility and precision. From the street, the first police units arrived, officers spilling out with guns drawn and flashlights slicing through the darkness. A shout rose above the chaos. "They're on the roof!" The officers turned their beams upward, catching fleeting glimpses of the fleeing figures. The chase was on. The leader took point, vaulting effortlessly over a ventilation duct and landing with a soft thud. The others followed in quick succession, their athleticism turning the city's rugged architecture into a labyrinth of escape routes. One member, the smallest of the group, darted ahead, scaling a precarious drainpipe to gain a higher vantage point. From there, they dropped a rope ladder for the others, their ingenuity showcasing a vital role in the team's survival. A rookie officer, eager and reckless, climbed after them. But the team anticipated this. A swift kick to the ladder's anchoring point sent it crashing down, the officer narrowly catching a ledge to avoid a dangerous fall. Above, the group pressed on, using every second gained to widen the gap. The city became their battlefield. They hurtled over fences, swung across scaffolding, and darted through narrow alleys. The smallest details came alive: the scrape of boots against brick, the muted clatter of loose rooftop tiles, the distant bark of a police dog. Every sound heightened the urgency of their flight. One team member, heavier and less agile than the rest, began to falter. Breathing heavily, they stumbled while attempting to clear a wide gap. The leader, without hesitation, turned back. Grabbing the struggling teammate's wrist, they hoisted them to safety just as a spotlight swept over the spot they had vacated. The act of solidarity reinforced the team's bond, even amidst the chaos. On the ground, the police were relentless, their voices crackling through radios as they coordinated efforts to box the thieves in. A helicopter joined the pursuit, its powerful beam illuminating the rooftops. Panic rippled through the team as the light closed in, pinning them like prey. In an act of desperation, one member, identifiable by the distinctive white bandana tied to their arm, broke from the group, sprinting toward a dilapidated warehouse. Their diversion was calculated but dangerous. As the helicopter followed the lone figure, the rest of the team slipped into the shadows, momentarily out of sight. The camera lingered on the bandana-clad figure as they paused inside the warehouse, catching their breath. A heavy thud of boots on the ground outside hinted at the officers closing in. They turned to face the incoming threat, their resolve clear. The air inside the warehouse was thick with tension, every sound amplified in the suffocating stillness. The bandana-clad figure, now cornered, scanned their surroundings. Shafts of moonlight pierced through broken windows, illuminating rusted machinery and stacks of forgotten crates. They adjusted their grip on the loot bag, their breathing steady despite the imminent danger. Footsteps echoed outside, the rhythm unrelenting. As the first officer burst through the side entrance, the figure moved. They leapt onto a stack of crates, their athleticism precise, the action almost instinctive. The officer shouted, but their warning fell on deaf ears. In a calculated maneuver, the thief swung from a dangling chain and disappeared into the rafters, leaving the officer below, scanning futilely. Elsewhere, the rest of the team regrouped in the shadows of a narrow alley. The leader, still calm under pressure, motioned for silence. From their vantage point, they observed patrol cars combing the streets. One member produced a small mirror from their pocket, angling it to monitor movements around the corner. The streets teemed with officers, but their chaotic searches lacked coordination, a weakness the team was ready to exploit. Flashing back to their rigorous preparation, the leader recalled a key part of the plan: a hidden passage beneath the city, accessible through a service tunnel nearby. It had been their trump card, a contingency for moments like this. Signaling to the others, the group melted into the darkness, slipping through a broken fence and into the entrance of the tunnel. The camera cut to their descent, the team navigating the damp, claustrophobic passageway. Water dripped from overhead pipes, and the faint hum of the city above served as a reminder of how close the danger was. Their pace was measured, every step deliberate. Despite the tension, there was no panic, only determination. Meanwhile, back in the warehouse, the bandana-clad thief executed their escape with precision. Using the rafters as a bridge, they reached a shattered skylight and emerged onto the roof. The helicopter's spotlight swept past, narrowly missing their silhouette as they slid down a drain pipe and vanished into the alleyways below. Rejoining the team in the tunnel, they exchanged a nod with the leader, a silent acknowledgement of their shared peril and trust. The group pressed forward, emerging in an abandoned subway station. It was a stark contrast to the chaos above, empty, desolate, a forgotten relic of the city. The leader called for a brief pause. They unrolled a secondary map, marking their next destination, a rendezvous point near the industrial docks. The plan had shifted, but the objective remained the same: escape. As the team moved out, the faint sound of barking dogs echoed in the distance, signaling that the chase was far from over. The leader turned, their eyes scanning the shadows, a silent promise of resilience etched into their stance. The camera lingered on the dimly lit tunnel entrance, the distant howls growing louder, before cutting away. The industrial docks loomed ahead, a labyrinth of towering cranes, rusted shipping containers, and shadowy alcoves. The air was heavy with the scent of salt and diesel, the faint creak of metal chains swaying in the wind adding to the oppressive atmosphere. The team, though battered and weary, moved with quiet determination. Every step felt like a gamble, each corner turned a potential ambush. The leader raised a hand, signaling the group to halt. They crouched low behind a stack of crates, observing the extraction point, a nondescript van idling near the water's edge. Their contact, a figure cloaked in anonymity, stood nearby, scanning the area nervously. It was clear time was running out. Before they could move, a spotlight from the pursuing helicopter sliced through the night, illuminating the dockyard. The roar of engines followed as police vehicles swarmed the area, their tires screeching against the uneven pavement. The team froze, their predicament now glaringly clear. Escape was within sight, but the noose was tightening. The leader's mind raced. They turned to the bandana-clad member, who nodded in understanding. Without hesitation, the thief darted toward a stack of barrels, tossing a flashbang behind them. The explosion of light and sound disoriented the approaching officers, buying the group precious seconds. Taking advantage of the chaos, the team scattered. One member scaled a crane, disappearing into its skeletal structure. Another slipped into the shadows of a shipping container, using the maze-like arrangement to their advantage. The leader led the remaining two toward the van, weaving through the confusion with uncanny precision. The camera followed the bandana-clad thief, who was playing the decoy once again. They darted between obstacles, drawing the attention of both the helicopter and the ground units. As the officers closed in, the thief tossed their loot bag into the water, the splash punctuating their defiance. Without slowing, they disappeared into the darkness, their ultimate fate left ambiguous. At the van, the leader and their companions reached the extraction point. Their contact opened the rear doors, motioning for them to hurry. Just as the last member climbed in, a police cruiser skidded to a halt nearby, its occupants leaping out with weapons drawn. The contact slammed the van door shut, shouting for the driver to go. The vehicle roared to life, tires spinning against the gravel as it sped toward the dock's edge. Police vehicles gave chase, their lights a relentless beacon of pursuit. With a sudden lurch, the van veered into a hidden tunnel, its entrance concealed beneath a pile of debris. The police cars screeched to a halt, their drivers hesitant to follow into the unknown. Inside the tunnel, the team sat in silence, their breaths heavy but relieved. The leader stared at the stolen loot, their mind already calculating their next move. The camera lingered on the van's taillights as they faded into the darkness, leaving the docks and the pursuing police behind. Above ground, the officers regrouped, their radios crackling with frustration. The screen faded to black, the faint hum of the city the only sound, leaving the outcome shrouded in mystery.